So the right hand can be used in a bunch of different ways depending on what the groove is that you're playing. Some of them are from muted techniques, through triplets, playing with 3 fingers, through using the thumb and 2 fingers, through a tremolo using the 4-finger attack. There's also the concept of the floating thumb. So as the thumb moves backwards, the hand moves forwards. One of the side effects of the floating thumb is that you end up with the ability to use the thumb as an appendage as you're striking the string. Not a double thump where you're striking up and down, but the thumb actually goes in there and actually works in the same way. So if I'm doing like a little tremolo thing where I'm using 4 fingers, with that what I'm doing is I'm striking thumb, I'm striking 1, I'm striking 2, I'm striking 3. Some guys use an alternate form of picking with that where they'll strike thumb, 3, 2, 1. I find that a little bit more difficult to strike thumb 3, 2, 1. For me, it makes more sense to just run down the line because it's almost like a drag, like a step. So I just kind of drag my fingers across there. I form like a triplet, like 3 fingers in a row, and ga-ga-ga-ga, ga-ga-ga-ga, thumb, ga-ga-ga-ga, ga-ga-ga-ga. So instead of doing this with each finger, I'm almost just rolling my hand. Kind of like what I would do if I'm doing like a banjo roll. And all I'm doing there is I'm doing stacked fifths. Right? But the real thing is the right hand here. So the thumb has a different sound, right? It's got a different sound, a different attack than the other fingers. So one of the things that I kind of work with, especially if I'm using this as part of my playing technique, if I don't want it to sound different than the other ones, if I want it to be part of my roll, I have to work on how do I make it sound uniform with the other ones. And part of that's just the attack and figuring out how would I make that attack a little bit more precise, right? And that's using 4. I like the 3-finger triplet kind of thing too. It almost becomes invisible depending on your playing. Or you can go back to the 1 and 2. With just that up and down. So you start to work into variations of that. Now, I kind of like that too, because that gets you into like that whole like primacy kind of thing, right? Where I'm using these 2 fingers to kind of drive that. That creates a pretty unique kind of attack, especially if you're playing octaves. And you can start to include some of those other fingers in there. So if I am doing like a triplet or 3 fingers in there, or I go into some other variation where I have that. We're using just these 3 and dropping the thumb. So you get that. Or using these 3. So you get almost like that gallop. With this one, so once you get comfortable with that up and down strike, so you're just kind of striking through and coming back with the back of the finger. A lot of times when I teach this to students, they want to do this. They want to do the pincher. You don't want to do the pincher. You want to leave the finger behind. So as it strikes through, the finger is already behind to come back up. Then, once you're comfortable with that, you add that second finger. So you end up with thumb 1, 2, 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 1, 2. You can do the tremolo thing too, which is the forefinger. I almost find that useless. It's a cool effect depending on what I'm, like if it's a lead-in for something. I almost never use it. It's a really cool trick. It might even work better for chords. In that sense that you can kind of use it to get that pedal. And that's probably the only place that I really use it. Like for fast runs, it's a cool parlor trick. Almost unnecessary though in real life, you know. So let's go back over and review this. So back to the right hand thumb technique. Thumb down, thumb up. Thumb strikes through. Comes back with that finger. Hand is still folded. Thumb finger's there. Striking through, hitting, coming back. Now remember what I said. You want to almost step these fingers. So you're going to strike thumb 1 and 2 behind that. So you have thumb 1, 2, thumb 1, 2, thumb 1, 2, thumb 1, 2. Then if you want to do the tremolo thing, the thumb and 3 finger thing, again, step the fingers so when you're turning, it's almost a twist of the wrist. You're striking those. And that gives you that, in the beginning, it will help you to get that. Once you get comfortable with it, you can really start to get in there. Start this also on one string. You don't need to do this on multiple strings to begin with. You just want to kind of get comfortable with just running that technique. You hear it striking the back of the string there? That's my fingernail. So you get into some other techniques with that, but this is basically the variations of what you can do with that. You can also get like some pinch harmonics in there too. We can start to include the thumb, that floating thumb, into that thumb technique. Just for your consideration. All right, guys, this is Steve. Thanks for checking it out. Day 2 of posting stuff randomly. All right, thanks.